Okay, let me show smart. Let me see this. Let me just go to smart this. I'm going to see the. Okay, let's look at this. Let me just. I want to get the data sheet so that we can see it. All right, this is the data sheet. All right, so now you can see this. You can see this. Now, looking at this now, for that installation now, we have 510. We have 510. Let me see. Okay, this is it. We have. I'm sure you know how I got this 510 because this is the power. Remember the flow from the solar panel to the charge controller. All right. So the charge controller should be able to accommodate the total power that is coming from the solar panel, and this is the total power. You can see power of the panel. We have 14 panels and 415, which is this. And the voltage to what is the voltage of the battery? The voltage of the battery is, remember, a charge controller has input and output. The input is where the solar panel will enter, and the output is where it will go and charge the battery. So it's both of them needs to match. All right. So once you identify the power to be this and this will be this. So now let's come to the data sheet. Now, do you think I can use this data sheet? You can see nominal power of the PV. Do you think I can use this data sheet? How many of these data sheet do you think I can? How many of this one do you think I can use? You can see one. This is the total power, nominal PV power, 1160. So I can actually use 5 of this. Remember, 5 of this. I can actually series 5 of this. But instead of making it look cumbersome, we can just go for start for a charge controller that can take this power, and the voltage is what? 48 volts. All right. Now the connection should be done considering the maximum system voltage and the maximum current. We also need to consider that. Now note, it is important to know that an hybrid inverter has input DC. You can see battery inputs, AC input, and AC output, and it is mostly used in DC coupled system. Now, a battery inverter has a battery input, AC input, and AC output. Another name for battery inverter is what? Another name for battery inverter is what? We are now. Are you following at all?
Power conversion.
PCS.
Power conversion system. Yes.
All right. So now, the AC output is bidirectional in functionality, and it is peculiar for an AC coupled system. An on-grid or grid-tied or PV or solar inverter has DC input and AC output. So that is it. All right. So now, steps in designing an AC coupled system. Now it's almost 12 already. Will you want us to stop or continue, or you want us to continue?
Let's take a break, you. Break.
How many hours break do you take?
Let's ask the question. I have question.
All right, ask your question. I think we need to stop today. We need to ask your question and we'll continue tomorrow. Don't worry. Let's end the class tomorrow. All right, so we'll continue tomorrow.
So, my hand is up, sir.
Yes. All right, so you guys ask your question.
Let me ask my question. So because when I design, I normally take notes of both powering the battery and charging I always take note of charging the battery as well as powering the load. And so I normally have I combine them to size my panels. So that means I start with my battery first before I will size my panels. So now my question is, for a battery for a DC coupled system, are we when the solar charge controller is charging the battery, and then it's now the inverter is not taking from the battery, converting it to AC to power the load? How are we going to have during the downtime, as in during night, is the battery not going to get low? At the end of the day, the customer will be complaining, I didn't use this thing within 2-3 hours, the system went off. So I want to be very clear, I understand, because during the peak sun hours, if if the inverter is taken from the battery, is it not reducing the capacity for night use? Because night use is what we should consider before, because during the peak sun hours, the panel is will be. I believe the panel is powering the load as well, if it is properly sized. So that's my question, please.
Of course, you are right. But if it depends on the inverter that you are using. It's good for you to size your PV in such a way that it will be charging the battery and be supplying the load. Right, that's the ideal way, but it depends on the inverter. If you are doing a DC coupled system, all right, and you are using a battery inverter where you have external charge controller, it doesn't work that way, because it's not powering your load directly, it's only charging your battery. Do you understand that? But if it is an AC coupled system where you want a situation whereby your battery, your PV will be charging your battery and be supplying the load, then you can do that as well. Or if you are using an hybrid inverter, you can also do that as well. Do you understand that? So you're right, it's good your sizing should be in such a way that it should charge the battery and power the load. For example, now let me give you an example now. For example, now if the client's load is, let me assume the client's average load, all right, that's the energy. Remember, we are talking about energy in this case, not power. It is energy. The energy is 10. You understand? You notice that the daytime load, the daytime energy for the client is 10 kilowatts. All right, and the battery, of course, you've checked your battery charging capacity, and you feel okay, the energy that will require is let's say 20. All right, let's say 20 kilowatt hour. Let's say 20 kilowatt hour. So in this case now, if you're going to size your PV should be sized in such a way that you should be able to get addition of these during the day. Remember, PV is usually sized in kilowatt peak. All right, it's usually sized in kilowatt peak. But at the end of the day, you should know what the energy will be. All right, and what is the energy? Is just multiplying. For example, now you installed 10 kilowatt peak. All right, to know what the energy is just to multiply with the peak sun hour. All right, if the peak sun hour is 3.95, once you multiply, you get the energy. So this is how you'll be able to determine the energy of your PV, to know if it will be able to supply the load of 10 kilowatts and be charging the battery at the same time during the day. All right, so once you can do this, then you can size your PV as a result of that. You understand? So now forget formula. I just have to put the formula, this is introduction. But by the time you are a professional already in the design, you forget formula. You design based on the principle of what you want. All right? Do you understand that now, Ayodele?
Yes, I get now. Yes, I
Are
get
you
now.
sure? Or you are still confused?
Yes. No, the only thing now I wanted to be clear now is when it is now used, since it's used from the battery now, so will it still be fully charged so that it will now sustain the client for nights where there's no,
Of course.
where there's no.
Of course, when you design properly, and remember, see, your design is, when you design is on book, but in reality it might not be like that. You understand? If you notice that, okay, this is what the client load is. What if the load is not? What if the energy is not like that? You understand? So, like I mentioned, when you design, when you've done your audit, you know what this is the client's load, and you know what the charging capacity of the battery is, and you size based on what I've just done, then you are good to go. Like I mentioned, it depends on the inverter that you are doing and the system. If it is DC coupled system and you are using a battery inverter, the battery inverter is taking, the facility is consuming directly from the load, from the battery through the inverter. You understand? So that is how it will continue doing like that until the energy from the solar enters the battery. The inverter will take it to power the load. That is how the flow is. So so that's the reason why if you understand that principle, you will definitely know that, okay, this particular customer that operates at night, maybe it is residential, then you can now install hybrid inverter. That's the reason why you see a lot of people are installing hybrid inverter for residential, not using battery inverter. Do you get that?
Okay. So that means for hybrid inverter, the case now will be that it is not only charging the battery but as well as powering the load.
Yes.
While I want to get what you are trying to say now. So for a hybrid inverter, so that means it is powering the load as well as charging the battery. While for the battery inverter, which is an external charge controller, it is only charging the battery while it will not take from the battery and power the load. Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's what I want to be clear. Thank you.
If you can add, I don't know, does anyone has an inverter at home that is using external charge controller? Does anyone has an inverter at home that is using external charge controller? If you do, you will realize that is how it's being done. That is how the connection is. That is how the flow is. All right. So
hello, sorry, sir.
Yeah, okay, you can go. The lights.
Okay. I have a question, just quick one. When you're talking about the battery connection, now I just want to ask, if you connect batteries in parallel, you understand? Let's say we need 48 volts of battery, and we know that there are 12 volts each battery, and then we connected 4 in parallel. What is the implication? Does it have any implication of, is it for does it help for the longer period of the battery, or what is the implication of that? What is the advantage of connecting it in parallel?
Sorry. I think I like your question. Ask again. Can you come again?
I'm saying that, for instance, now when we need, let's say we need 24 volts of to power a nominal for 24 volts, and then we want to use 4 batteries, and we are aware that each battery has 12 volts, and then we do parallel connection for the battery to get 24 volts. What is the advantage of doing that?
Advantage of parallel, like you series 2 and parallel.
Yes, and parallel.
Of course, it's longer backup power, longer capacity, longer backup power.
All right, sir.
Then again, I think your question now leads me to what I want to explain, because I think you are going there. This is what I want. Now it's good if you have, now for example, now if you have what do you know that we have 24 volts 5 kVA. And we have 48 volt 5 kVA. Now, if you have 24 volts 5 kVA and you have 48 volt 5 kVA, which one would you prefer?
24 volts 5 kVA.
Wow.
Yes, for sure we do have.
Because
which one would you prefer?
I would prefer that because of the cost implication of the battery.
Now let me just clear this. It's good for you to go for 48 volts, and I will tell you. 48 volts. Now let me just hit you this, and I think I've been explaining that to you, that if you know where you need to use voltage and current, ensure you go for higher voltage. The reason is simply because if you go for higher voltage, you're going to reduce losses. You are also going to reduce number of cables. You reduce the length of cables. So if you think you are reducing costs, all right, you are going to pay it back in terms of losses, in terms of accessories that you buy. So it's good for you to always go for higher voltage so as to reduce losses. All right?
Okay.
So that's that. So any other question? Tito, your hand is up.
Thank you, sir.
There's a question I want to ask, sir. For that, normally when somebody is doing hybrid, they're using hybrid inverter and the battery, for example, Felicity, for example, now. Why do they use this charge controller when there is already a hybrid?
All right, thank you. I love that question. Now, the reason why they use external charge controller, all right, is this. Now, let me just do it. Let me do it here. Now, if, for example, now, you remember the inbuilt charge controller is limited, all right? For example, now you have an hybrid inverter. Can you give me an hybrid? Which hybrid? Okay, Felicity, right? Now let me go. I want to show. Let's be practical. I will show you this. Felicity hybrid inverter. All right, so let's see this. Let me just go to data sheets. Okay, let's see 10 kVA data sheets. All right, so this is it, IVPM. Okay. All right, so can you see this? Can you see these data sheets?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Okay, now when you look at this now, this is the power rating, blah, blah. This is the AC. Let's go to where we have our charge. Okay, now can you see maximum input power is what? 6,600. Can you see it? Can you see now? Maximum input. Now, the reason why the reason why we use this, if I'm designing a solar capacity, please mute your mic. All right. Now, since you've identified that the charge controller has a maximum, the inbuilt charge controller has a maximum input power of, the OEM has already told you that this is the maximum that my inbuilt charge controller can take. So you shouldn't exceed it. Meaning that if your PV capacity is 10 kilowatt peak, if your PV capacity is 10 kilowatt peak, that means that out of this 10 kilowatt peak, 6,000 kilowatt peak can only go inside your Felicity. Then the balance, what will be the balance? The balance to what? 4,400, right?
Yes.
400 will go to an external charge controller. Do you understand it? So that means that that means that using inbuilt charge controller is limiting your PV capacity. But if you still want to go ahead and you want to go ahead and use all the PV capacity, then you need to bring in an inbuilt charge controller. Remember, the charge controller is only going inside your battery. There is no connection between external charge controller and inverter. I'm sure you know that. There is no connection between. So what you need to do now is, once you want to use the external charge controller, you now need to confirm the compatibility of the external charge controller and the battery that you are using. Your charge controller, you are not terminating your external charge controller inside this. No, you are not terminating it here. Your external charge controller is only going to your battery, not your inbuilt. It's not going inside here. It's only going inside your battery. And remember, like I mentioned earlier, there is no connection between your battery, your inverter, and charge controller. Your inverter only has connection with your battery. So your external charge controller is only connecting to your battery, and you are good to go. All right? Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. And sorry, apart from this thing you said now, you said, okay, since you said the external charge controller has nothing to do with the inverter, it's only connected to the battery.
Yes.
Yes. So is the solar panel also going to be connected to the external charge controller?
Yes, the solar panel will be connected to the other. Remember this. Remember you've done this already. You've separated it already. 6,600. Then this capacity is going to your external charge controller. So you've done the separation already.
All right.
Do you understand that? You've done the separation already.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ibrahim, you can go next. Or Lucky, or Adeyinka. Any of you can go next. All right. right, someone is asking what is VA rating? VA rating is just like kVA. V is voltage, A is amps. All right, it's just like saying kilovolts. Kilovolt amp, that's kVA. All right, so is voltage, that's the unit of inverter. All right, you can ask your question.
Hello.
All right, you can ask your question now.
Yeah, for me, I have only one question.
All right.
I believe we all understand the peak sunshine hours varies with the location, even within the country. I wanted you to help us if possible get it online. Let's say for a particular area, could be Abuja or Kano or any other location, so that we can see how we can do it online. Like,
So I can't hear you. I think where you are is noisy. I can't hear you. Lucky Ibrahim. Okay. Yeah, Morris, go.
okay. I'm somewhere where.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, Lucky.
Yes, thank you for this thought-provoking.
I can't hear you again, Lucky. Ibrahim.
Can I come again?
Oh yeah, Morris, you can come now. You can come.
Yeah, we understand big sunshine hours.
Go to Dubai, and he brought in 6 number of battery, 12 volt.
Lucky, can you come again? Can you come again? I can't hear you.
And then he actually wants me to use those batteries.
Can you start from the beginning?
Initially, I wanted using a battery inverter, but with your explanation.
Can you come again? I can't hear you.
Yes, I said I had this client. He traveled out of the country. Yes, okay. I said I had this.
Man, I can't hear you again. Oh, I can't hear you again.
Client number of batteries, 12 volts, 200 Ah, and he wants me to install that in his house. He said he wants to be using it to watch his TV and then power one of his deep freezer. And then initially I wanted using the battery inverter, but with this lecture I've understood that I will need to use a inverter instead of the battery inverter. So that means with how you've opened my eyes now, actually it's 6 batteries, and once all of the batteries to be used, the higher voltage will be better.
Yes. Which inverter are you using?
Application were to use Felicity 24 volts, probably 5 kVA. So I don't know what's your take on that.
Go for 48. Don't use 24. Go for 48 volts.
So what there are 6 number of batteries. So how do I utilize that?
Then you can't do it. Then if it's 6, then it is 24 that you do.
Okay.
If it is 48, you will need multiples of 4.
Yes, I'll need multiples of 4.
So you can't do it unless you tell the client that they should buy 2 more.
Okay.
Or you just make do with the 24 volt. You can see it's 24 volt, but nothing since it's residential.
Yes.
No problem. You can use the 24 volts.
All right.
In case of next time, just go for higher voltage. That's
okay, sir. Okay, sir. All right. Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay. All right, sir. I still have another question, though.
Okay.
Yes, you talked about battery inverter, and solar inverter. So the battery inverters are the normal inverters to use, like Felicity, Saco. Although you mentioned Victron and Luna. Okay. No, are they the same class of battery inverter? Because
now let me show you how to know battery inverter. Now this is let me go to Victron. Now okay, let me come to, if you check this now, this is Felicity. Can you see my screen now? If you check the data sheet, it has solar. PV. It's talking about PV. You can see it's talking about PV input maximum. You check the data sheet. Now looking at this, I know it's an hybrid. That means that it has inbuilt. You can even see MPPT built-in controller. All right. So if you are checking a data sheet of an inverter and you are seeing among the data, they are talking about charge controller, maximum open circuit voltage, solar charging current and the rest. Just know that it is what it is, an hybrid inverter. Now let me go to Victron so that you will be able to see the difference. Let's go to Victron Quattro to know that is a battery inverter. Now when you look at this, if you check this, there is no way, they are not even talking about solar. Can you see this? This is battery, you can see. Let's come down. All this is voltage, you can see. Voltage. This is still talking about battery, you can see inverter. This is talking about the, you can see when there is nowhere they are talking about. This is still talking about the charging voltage of the battery. Did you see where they talked about open circuit voltage? No, you will not see it. So this is a typical battery inverter. A typical battery inverter. And if you read through, you will see where they mention that it has bi-directional. I'm coming bi-directional. They will also tell you I'm coming bi-directional. If you check through, you will see. If you read through, you will see. If you read through all this, you will see where they mention bi-directional. So that's how to differentiate between battery inverter and hybrid inverter. All right.
Okay. So that means the solar inverter, uncle. The solar inverter, is it also the same thing as hybrid inverter?
It's not. Solar inverter has, okay, I think I've explained that. It's in the slide already. This is its notes. You can see this note here. Can you see it? Hybrid inverter has input DC, battery inputs, AC inputs, AC outputs, and it is mostly used in DC coupled system. Battery inverter doesn't have DC input. It only has battery inputs, AC input, and AC output. That's why we use external charge controller for battery inverter. Now, an on-grid inverter or solar inverter only has DC inputs and AC outputs. Do you get that now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Ibrahim, your hand is up. Victor, your hand is up too.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. Just quickly want to ask as regards to hybrid inverter.
Okay.
For a hybrid inverter, how do you tend to manage the battery charging? Supposing you're expecting maybe you have enough of sufficient PV supply, and at the same time is powering your gadget. Your load. So the battery is fully charged. So does that equally have effect on the battery?
All right, thank you. Now, every hybrid inverter is smart. So why do it? That's the reason why you don't just install a battery inverter, an hybrid inverter and leave. There are some configurations that you will need to do. All right? Even battery inverter as well. Just like Victron. You don't install Victron and leave. You don't install Felicity and leave. You will do some settings. All right? So they've already told you that this is the maximum charge that your battery can take. All right, so now when it gets to, and battery has different stages in which they charge. They have the bulk stage, they have the assumption stage, and you have the flow stage. So each of those stages receive different currents. So now, even if the battery is fully charged, all right, even if the battery is fully charged, there is what we call flicker. Have you seen what is this thing? What is this thing called? I forgot it. There's what we call flicker, all right? It will remain in 100%, but it will just be we call it trickle charging. That's what we call trickle charging. Do you understand that? It will maintain small current, while the remaining current can be powering the load. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
So that is how it operates. Even for if you check their data, if you check their dashboard, for example, Victron, if you check Victron dashboard, you will see the stage, the bulk stage absorption and float. That flow stage, the battery is already full. All right. And remember, even if battery is full and you're not using it, it will go down again. I'm sure you know that. All right. I'm sure you know that.
Yes.
That's the discharge state of a battery to go down. So that's the essence of that float. That's the essence of that trickle. It will keep trickling on it. All right. So that's that. Any other question?
Okay. So sorry. Quickly. Does that simply signify that the battery is charging and discharging?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
So with this explanation now, so does it signify that the battery will be discharging and charging again?
No. It will flicker. Just flicker. It will just be flicking on it, not discharging. Even if it will discharge and recharge again, it will be at a slow pace. It will just maintain that level, like that on that 100 level. Just be flicker. But the current that it will use will not be much again.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, Lucky, Victor, your hand is up. All right, so since there is no question, let's call it a day. We will converge here again tomorrow by 6 p.m. I don't want to rush it, so let's just take our time. So tomorrow by 6 p.m. we'll converge again. Then we'll finish it up tomorrow. All right. Now, tomorrow is basically the design parts. All right, so I'll just try and go deeper, but it might still be some, but I'm sure you will get a lot tomorrow. All right, so Oguke, your hand is still up. Do you still have a question? Lucky, do you still have a question? So since there's no question, let's call it a night. Sorry, a day rather. All right, so now before then, let me even ask, how has been the, have you been facing any challenge? I'm not proceeding, I'm done with the class. But I just want to ask, are you facing any challenge? Are you facing any challenge so far? Because officially the class should have ended today. But I just want to know if you are facing any challenge. Maybe you've gone through the slides or the recording and you're having any question. Do you have any question aside the ones that we've done today? All right, Victor, you can ask your question. Yeah, your hand is up. You can ask your question, Victor. Victor, you can ask your question. Or if you can't talk, you can type your question. You can type it. I can see that you are talking, but we can't hear you. You can type your question. You can type your question. Now, and again, Lucky, your hand is also up as well.
Yes, I wanted to find out, is it every hybrid inverter that comes with an MPPT
Yes.
charge controller?
Yes, indeed. All hybrid inverter comes with it.
Okay, because there was a time, I think in 2021, I did install one, I think GSR, the GSR brand. And they said it was a 10 kVA system, 120 volt inbuilt system voltage. So, and they said it was a hybrid inverter. And then the performance is not as expected. So I don't know what happened there. As comparing it to where I bought the same, it was a 3.5 48 volt, and I installed. They said that one too was hybrid, and I did install an external charge controller, electricity charge controller, and that one was performing well. While the other 10 kVA, it wasn't actually performing well. The good thing was that the client doesn't stay in that place. It's actually his farm. So I don't know if it was really an MPP inbuilt or a PWM or so. Hello, did you get me?
Yeah, I got your question. So that's the reason why it's good for you to always check the data sheet. Some can tell you that it's an hybrid inverter. It has an inbuilt MPPT. So it has an inbuilt charge controller. But when you check the charge controller, you realize that it's PWM, not MPPT. So if it is PWM, I will advise you do not use it. Just leave it idle like that. Go for external charge controller.
Okay.
Go for external MPPT charge controller.
So the mistake has been done. So do you advise now that it's about 4 years now that system had been installed, even though the client there's no much heavy load on it because it's actually a farm? Do you advise we get an external MPPT charge controller now and reinstall it? Or
yeah, you can do that. If the client is willing, if you can pitch it to the client and is willing to bring out money, sure, you can do that.
All right, it's okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So now, Victor, I got your question. I have a client who wants to change from lead acid to lithium battery. Now, if you are migrating from lead acid to lithium battery, or you want to carry out an installation using lithium battery, please ensure you verify the compatibility. All right. If you want to, which inverter is he using for the lead acid? All right. If it is 5 kVA average power inverter, confirm if it is compatible with the lithium battery you want to use. And how do you do that? For example, if you want to use maybe Pilot Tech battery, you can reach out to OEM of the battery or the supplier of the lithium battery and ask if average power inverter, if 5 kVA average power inverter is compatible with their is compatible with lithium battery. Just ask. So if it is, then you can go ahead. If it is not, I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do about it. It's either you change the inverter or you keep looking for a lithium battery that is compatible. So do you get that? So if you got that, just use the same message to tell me that you got it so that I will know that you're on the same page. Did you get that, Victor? Okay, thank you. All right, so let's end the class now. It's been a wonderful weekend. So we'll continue tomorrow. But tomorrow will be by 6, not in the morning. All right? So enjoy the rest of your afternoon. All right, bye. All right, someone has the slide. The slide will be available after 24 hours, both the slide and the recording, after 24 hours. And the 24 hours starts after tomorrow. Once we are done with tomorrow class, the 24 hours commence from there. So, bye everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.